Hello, this is a kill of Underpin question mark here in the second week of Season 2. It's a pretty difficult fight, but I managed to make it through after several pulls figuring out what to do. I'm on a Frost Mage using a frostfire spec. It's a little tailored for just this fight, so I will link that in the description. Eye level is 649, nothing too crazy. Only two pieces of the new tier and two pieces of the previous tier. Trinkets, I do have a champion Eye of Razan, and then some lousy book, some kind of book that does a little bit of damage, but it does have a lot of int on it. So this fight took me a bit to figure out, so I'll play it through and I'll talk along and point out anything that I learned along the way. Hopefully that'll help other people that are working on this fight. One thing that definitely seems to be built into this, because it is meant to be the ultimate delve boss for this season, right? So it's not meant to be easy, but there's quite a bit of a DPS check, not just in breaking his shield between the stages, but in getting him there so he's not summoning extra packs of ads as well. Because the ads consume a lot of your DPS time. So as you can see, I'm working through the ads to get those down because we can't let those stack up too much. At the same time, you got to be aware of the boss and getting some DPS into him as you can. So the break point I found for getting a shield phase to trigger is about 80%, so I got to push pretty hard right here. And I got it just barely. And the shield itself is a little bit meaty. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I just barely got it down with that last glacial spike, which will repeat itself throughout this fight, because I think probably it's going to be a lot easier to do this with some better gear. So I pulled this many times, trying to hold cooldowns for the shield and yada yada. But this particular pull, I used cooldowns as soon as I could every time. The only thing I would save is Ray of Frost for the shield. See, in that particular batch of cronies, looks like he spawned 5 instead of 4, and one was a little split. So we're just going to have to leave it and dodge. You can see that Ray of Frost does a lot to the shield. Just one fully charged Ray of Frost will get most of the shield at my eye level. And then maybe another couple glacial spikes. Needless to say, there's a ton of dodging. One tip on the bombs is if you go to your options and turn on interact with target and then bind a key for it. So I bound my F key because it was pretty easy to get to. So I'm using WASD, and you can get right behind the bomb and then just hit that button and it'll fling the bomb instead of having to right click on it. Guess I could have backed my camera out just a little bit more, but as you can see, you want to go top down through a lot of this so you can keep an eye on what's going on. This fight is all dodging, which is Not a lot of fun for a caster, but it looks like I've been holding Icy Veins for a little bit, probably because I'm thinking I want to use it on the next shield. Let's see what I do. Oh, yeah, that's what I did. See, my bombs don't all work out perfect, but you just keep moving and do what you can. Movement is so key in this fight. So, said I will link the spec I used for this, but of course we're doing everything we can to reduce the time on Shimmer, help get some movement. Yeah, barely got that. You have about 10 seconds, I think it is, once that shield goes up, which is not a lot of time. Especially if at the same time he's throwing out those bombs and you have to keep moving. I did consider going to Icy Flows, except for repositioning, Shimmer seemed pretty, it's just like that, it's pretty essential. I'd previously gotten him down below 20%, so I can tell you I was stressing a little bit here. Let me pause there for a second. So, as you can see, that fight is just so much movement, and it's a long arena, so it's not like you can keep all the far mobs in view, but just keep your eyes for those red lines on the ground. As soon as they pop up, you have a couple seconds where you have to move out. Same with the time bomb or the timed bombs he's throwing out. Those puddles give you maybe a second, so you can finish up a cast if you need to, but then you do need to move right away. Brann didn't do a lot of damage throughout this fight. I set him to use the Goblematic grenades, which when he's up, he'll use them. I had him. I had done previous pulls trying to use the buffed up dinosaur egg, but I found that it was random. Sometimes you'd pop them and you'd hatch a lot of dinosaurs, do some good damage. Other times it's like they didn't pop at all. So at least the grenades are consistent. They're just not real great. Brann will be dead throughout much of this fight, even with reduced damage from AoE. And of course, with so much movement, it's hard to pick up the potions all the time that he's throwing out. So you have to be as self-sufficient as you can. The other thing I did in my spec was set up barrier healing as much as I could and shortened cooldowns on the barriers. You'd think he'd have better prices. Well, let's see a second here. Pretty sure I pull up my talent tree here. We take a quick peek. Oh, curios. Besides the grenades, I was running. Oh, here we go. Let me pause. I was running the looter or I'm sorry, curio, because that one uh, applies a a debuff to all the mobs, has them take an increased 5% damage, which is not huge at all, right? But it's the most handy one I could find for this particular fight. I've tried the other ones, and none of them really do a great amount of damage. When you're doing delves, the automatic foot bomb is pretty good if you're melee because you can move really easily to them. Uh, but this one just works the whole time, and then it'll scan out, I think, every 30 seconds or so, maybe 45. So you're getting extra damage on the, I assume it's on the bombs and the boss as well. So now looking at the talent tree, then we're running a frostfire spec. The frost side is pretty standard. We're running a ray of frost, and I did go with death's chill. So you can get a little stack of death's chill from, I think, the bombs. I think that works during icy veins. You'll cleave to those. I think you cleave to the ads as well. So it's not much, but we don't. I took a few different tries. I was trying some different talents, and none of them are really great. Ray of Frost, I did find saving that for shields or when you need that burst to get into a shield phase actually was pretty helpful. And then here on the utility side, you can kind of see that I've taken the magic resistance there. I think it helped with the fire. There's a little bit of the Tempest Barrier for healing after a blink, and then barrier healing here, and then we got reductions on barrier cooldowns here. I only had enough to put 1 point in reducing the shimmer cooldown by 2 seconds, but seemed like it was just enough. I would have preferred 2 points, but I didn't see where I could pull the talent points here. Ice cold I wanted to stick with because of course we can heal while we're in that, and then also you pretty much always got to be moving and DPSing something, whether you're kicking bombs at the ads or trying to get DPS into that boss to keep his health going down. Like I said, it does seem to be some DPS checks along the way, both in breaking his shield when it comes up and getting him into that shield phase before you get extra sets of ads. So in this particular kill, I didn't have extra sets of ads, though it was close, and I broke all the barriers, though once again it was very close. So like I said, we're only at 648 or 49 on the eye level, and I don't know how much that 4-piece will actually help Frost out that much, but there we go, 649. And as you can see, nothing too crazy. A lot of season 1 gear still on. So if you can get over 650, you'll probably have a little easier time. I'm going to guess once we're in the 655 and up range, it'll be much better. So, well, hopefully this little walkthrough help anybody else working on this. It's definitely a challenging fight, and I pulled it a lot of times before I got it, but I enjoyed it. So hopefully if you're working on it, you guys will enjoy it too. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.